Hello, it's episode 3 of the Dear Local Champion podcast. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. My name is Ono Me and I'm your host. And for those of you who've been listening so far, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for lending me your ears. Thank you for sharing feedback. Thank you for just participating in this community and what we're building together. And if you're just new on here, welcome. Where have you been? Well, the Dear Local Champion is here to really talk and just have very honest conversations about career, building life, breaking through barriers, and just really identifying who you are and all that you can be in your chosen line of work. And so, over the next couple of God knows how long, we're going to be discussing various topics that I've experienced over the last 5 to 6 years working in investment banking / management consulting, and just all the many things I've learned and I find will be very helpful for you, dear local champion, as you break into global dominance in your career. So, welcome. Last week, we discussed playing nice, and that's just really building the right relationships at the workplace and settling into just really investing in getting to know your colleagues, building rapport with them, and benefiting over the years from that relationship and the sync that you build over the years with those relationships. And today, we will be discussing exit opportunities. Well, not necessarily exit opportunities. The title is Dear Local Champion, there are plenty of other fish in the sea. I'll start by telling you a story. In my first year working in one of the organizations I've worked in, I remember when I was stepping in, I told myself that, you know what, this is such a great opportunity. This is such a fantastic job. And I'm on a sponsored visa. So I'm just going to really invest and build and stay here 5 years. And then, once I get my indefinite leave to remain, then I would consider options to leave. And I remember at the time there was someone, let's say her name is Amy. And Amy and I started around the same time. And I remember just, thinking that all of us were thinking about things the same way, 5 years in, then we'd consider other options. And less than a year in, I realized that Amy's left. Amy has gone to an even bigger, juicier opportunity. And I just realized that, whoa, wait. Not everyone is thinking the same way I'm thinking. You see, and Amy has then progressed to do so many beautiful things. You see, the thing about it is that in life and in career, you always need to be thinking about your next step, about whether so and so place serves you, whether there's more. And I think it's very important to ask yourself the right questions. Don't think that there is a way that you're supposed to regard a job. Having a good job does not mean that there isn't better out there. And I want you to be very intentional about the way that you perceive yourself and where you're going. The thing about it is that for many of us, we know that we are going far. We are going places. And no one ever got to the sky or the moon by going in a slow beetle bus or by going on a scooter. It takes quite a lot of firepower to leave the Earth's orbit and enter space. What I mean by that is you need to be fueled by a drive to excel and go places. When you get to a new situation, I want you to be conscious about staying in it for only as long as serves you and your career purposes. I know many of us have end of year feedback reviews with our employers and mid-year reviews with our employers, but I really want us to change the way we think about them. These end of year reviews should not be only for your manager / employer to evaluate whether or not you're doing a great job, whether or not you deserve a promotion. They should also be for you to take time to reflect and ask yourself, how have the last couple of months been for me? Tracking versus my career goals. Where are we going? Is this the same pace at which I want to accomplish the next couple of things that I've laid out for my career? Are there other things I should be exploring? Do I still want to be here next year? Does this place still serve my career objectives? These are questions you need to ask yourself. And the thing about it is that it's very easy to get comfortable. You think about it, hey, at least I'm getting a good job. Someone else would be so grateful to have this job. I might as well just get comfortable and stay here. Besides, I said when I started that I'll spend 5 years. Remember that your plans can always change. Life is dynamic and you should be too. There's so many fish out there. I know the world is not so easy, and I know that there will always be the demand supply dynamics of lots of people looking for jobs and not that many jobs out there. But the truth about the matter is that if you only go looking for a job when you absolutely need a new one, then it becomes really, really highly pressure for you. Imagine if you'd always had a few things up your sleeve and then one day you realize, actually, I want something new. Imagine the flex of knowing that at least you've had conversations with various recruiters about possible opportunities, and at least you have the clarity of where you want to go and you're not just starting from ground zero. I really want you to think about it. So you that I'm talking to, I know it's been tough. I know your first year was really, really tough. And you told yourself, oh no, actually, I'll make it work. I'll just keep at it. It's probably me. I'm not the problem. I'm the problem. It's definitely not the job. I'm going to work hard and prove myself. And maybe by next year, then my feedback will get better and then I can definitely go. Honestly, I want you to realize that if something is not working, whether or not it's you or them, it's just not working. At least give yourself the benefit of exploring other options. What we don't want to be here is stranded. And the sooner you explore options, the better for you and your trajectory. I think for many people who work, for example, in consulting or finance, there will always be, at least once a quarter, there would be the random spam email from some recruiter trying to see if they could get a coffee with you about a particular opportunity. I would say indulge them. At least have a conversation about what's out there in the market. It doesn't mean you're being disloyal to your employer. You're just finding out what's out there. You're meeting people. You're building relationships. You're learning what skills are relevant in the market. Yes, you're benchmarking yourself. Okay, based on what I've learned, what I've done here, who am I attractive to? These things help you even when you do the actual job. There's just a fresh perspective it gives you in this job that you're doing when you realize that, oh, this is how these skills apply in so and so organizations. And this is what other people with these skills are doing in other works of life. I think it's so important, and I don't think enough people think about it. Another thing to address is the visa topic. There's many people who are, for example, in the UK and working on a skilled worker tier 2 visa and have the wrong notion that because a certain employer is sponsoring your tier 2 visa, you need to stay with that employer until you get your indefinite leave to remain. It is so wrong and it is increasingly limiting. I hope you know that if you find another employer who's willing to continue sponsoring your tier 2 visa, you literally just move across sponsors and it continues counting from where it stopped with your old employer. Don't let that limit you. I want you to understand that you are skilled, you are talented. And if you find someone else who's willing to sponsor you, please, by all means, go ahead. Secondly, I would tell you that we need to think very innovatively about our careers. I want you to every year evaluate whether the 5-year plan you set was a bit too monotonous or a bit too basic for you and where you think you should be going. I also want you to consider the fact that options don't always have to be just, moving to another job. It could also be, doing something like, going to school and just skilling up. It doesn't have to be the classic job to job route. I just want you to think far and wide about all the other opportunities that exist. I want you to really look inwards and think, what is it that supports me and where I'm going in my career? Don't allow yourself to get limited. And I want you to understand that if you are staying somewhere that you know you don't want to be for an extra year, then you've basically reached the point of diminishing marginal utility, where you've gotten basically as much as you would get from this place. And to be honest, it then becomes harder and harder to show up to the office every day. And the thing about it is, when you get to a point where you don't really want to be there and your enthusiasm is waning, I promise you, unless you're very skilled, other people will begin to notice as well. And it will just become this vicious cycle of, oh, does she really want to be here? Oh, I mean, if she doesn't want to be here, then there's no point investing in her. I just want you to understand that for as long as you're in a place, it needs to be clear that you love it there and you want to be there. And once you get the impression that you no longer want to be in a place, you should already be in a position where you've already been exploring other opportunities. Because what you don't want to be is stuck in a place that you don't want to be in. And here's a little segue. Now, you've listened to me and you're thinking, yeah, Ono Me, thank you very much. But like, I've known I wanted to leave my workplace for the longest time, and I still not gotten any opportunities. That's also okay. And honestly, I empathize with you because I've been there. The truth about the matter is that it's not always the easiest to get another job. But what I will say to you is, have you explored every opportunity that there is? I think very often a lot of us have this cookie cutter idea of where we want to be. I've worked in so and so. So, for example, let's say you've worked in investment banking. And so definitely, because all your colleagues have been moving into private equity, then definitely private equity is where you should be. I want you to ask yourself certain questions. Is your desire to, for example, move into private equity stronger than your desire to leave your current place? Like, you need to really evaluate those two things. If your desire to leave your current place of employment is much stronger than your desire to be in private equity, I advise you to look at other types of employment. The thing about it is that the world is really, really vast. There are opportunities in various fields, and I want you to explore them. I want you to not feel like too many things or everything else is beneath you. I want you to really, really explore all that really lies out there. I want you to do the research, find out other things that you might never have considered before, but then have similar, skill requirements and similar things and experiences to what it is that you're looking for. And the truth is, you just might find your next job in the most unexpected of ways. I would also say, let all your friends know, let all your very good friends know that you're interested in getting another job. Could they refer you? Could they introduce you to people? Go for networking events. Like, just build the relationships. And like I said earlier, the sooner you begin these conversations, then the more acquainted you are with the whole idea of exploring other opportunities and building relationships. The thing about it is that it's not a science, it's an art. But what you always want to be is ready, living ready to take on the next opportunity, to put your best foot forward. And the only way you can do that is to already begin looking before it becomes hyper urgent. I can't emphasize this enough. Your career is only as beautiful as the experiences that you have within it. I want you to really think about where you want to be. I really want you to think about the fact that you might not necessarily love every single job that you've done in the full span of your career when you look back in 20, 30 years. But what I want you to never feel is chained or stuck or just without optionality. One thing I would say as well is that, and this is what I found that a lot of Europeans have figured out very, very well, is the fact that most of them have a 2-year plan. A 5-year plan, in my opinion, is way too long. At the 2-year mark, you should be asking, do I want to stay here or do I want to go elsewhere? I want it to be very clear to everyone who observes you that your evaluation of yourself and the skills that you bring to the team does not make you feel like you can't get a good job elsewhere. Because if anyone perceives that is what you think of yourself, then chances are that you will get much less than what you're worth when it comes to bonuses, when it comes to remuneration in general. I want you to constantly be confident in the fact that when you put your head to it, you will find another job. That's the first step. Another thing I want to say to you is that there will always be people who've gone ahead of you. When you're thinking about the next step you want to take in your career, I think something that's always very helpful is looking to see if there are people who sat or stood in your shoes, for example, in the current organization that you're in, and have moved into organizations that you consider to be interesting. Try to build relationships with those people. Try to pick their brains. Find out, what were they thinking about? How do they come to arrive at this opportunity? Do they like what they're doing? Like, schedule coffees with these people. Find out how they thought about it. Find out how they're enjoying their careers. Just look for ways to learn and draw from other people's experiences. Another thing I would say to you is that if you can afford to do it, I think a little short travel break is always very good to clear the head. I think that if you can afford it between your job A and job B, I think that you should try to squeeze in a little break. Maybe travel, maybe take a study leave, just something that sort of gives you the opportunity to just feel, reflect on the last experience and move into something else. The truth is that there will always, dear local champion, be various fish in the sea. You just need to believe that you have the ability to catch them. And the only way you can do so is by building the practice of actually fishing, So this is my prompt to you today. If you truly believe that where you are right now is not exactly where you want to be, I want you to go back to your plans. And if you need to, shorten the time frame you've apportioned to your current role. Begin to ask questions. Begin to look online. What is out there? What am I not thinking about? I want you to really introspect. And I want you to open your mind to the fact that you really can move to another organization. I don't want you to feel like moving to another place, especially if you've gotten negative feedback from your current employer, is an admission of guilt or an admission of defeat. It's not. Many of you are still so early in your careers and you have so many beautiful, prosperous years ahead of you. Don't you think it'll be so much better if you cut your losses early and look somewhere else? There's so much ground to be covered. You just need to get out of the quicksand of thinking that you don't deserve to be where you are and fighting so hard to stand and only to get deeper in the sand. Please, I beg you, for the sake of the future you who's standing gallantly and successfully, consider other opportunities. The world really is your oyster. I think that this is a topic that we will continue to explore and mull over the next couple of years as we continue to learn more and experience more. But then again, I'm here. If you have any questions, you want to send any emails, and just ask any further questions about this topic, dearlocalchampion@gmail.com is there for you. The Instagram, Dear Local Champion, is available. Feel free to send me a DM. And of course, we have our Spotify and our Apple podcast as well as our YouTube. I really, really believe that there is so much that a person can achieve if they only applied the right techniques and if they only had some foresight from someone who's gone ahead. And that's why I created this podcast. I'm so happy that I can share with people things that I learned from years ago that I wish someone had shared with me. And that is the whole point and the heart behind the Dear Local Champion podcast. We're coming to the end of this episode, but I want to tell you that it's been a huge pleasure to be here and to speak today. I'm so honored that you lent me your ears, and I can't wait for what we discuss next week. I want you to keep your ears close to the dial. Don't touch the dial. And I'll see you soon. Bye.